Welcome to what is probably the most disastrous alternative living narrowboat channel on YouTube. Yeah, and I'm not joking, it has been anything but smooth sailing. I'm not going to keep going over the same old story week after week. You know the score, we got a big bloody leak after not getting a big bloody survey. Now we're big bloody paying for it and we're going to have big bloody fun doing it, alright? We are Chris and Bex, we are the Nomadic Crobot. And in the last episode we had the narrowboat's MOT. That's the BSS, and this is what happened. So guys, it's failed. So guys, welcome back to your narrowboat nightmare from hell. Last time we left you on a little bit of a cliffhanger, like a crowbotty cliffhanger. We love doing that, in case anyone noticed. But now to the nitty gritty of the BSS and tell you guys what the Whistling Wombat failed on. Did it fail in a bad way, Bex, where like we can't ever go cruising, or did it fail in a light-hearted way and pretty much pass?
Well, I'm very pleased to report that yes, it did fail, and in fact the BSS guy was really sweet. Like, he said to me, like, partway through, he's like, it has failed, but I'll take you through it. And I was like, okay, so I kind of knew it had failed before he'd even finished. But actually it was a pretty good result, because all of the big scary main things, i.e. is the boat gas tight and stuff like that, is the stove likely to combust at any moment, all of that jazz was all grand. And what it failed on was some minor things, a lot of which we had already actually considered ourselves, but thought we would just wait and see how it played out before doing things that might have been unnecessary, kind of thing.
Because there were quite a few comments from people to the build-up of the BSS saying there's no, I don't mean to be horrible, but it is going to fail the BSS because I think because of the disaster that this narrowboat has turned into, we all sort of expected it maybe to completely fail.
But it just goes to show, don't judge a book by its cover, because actually she's a pretty solid little boat underneath. She's been well designed, and you know, all of the main kind of systems, the electrical system, the gas system and stuff's all been done to a pretty high standard. So it's just kind of little things that are likely to happen, wear and tear over time, that just need upgrading and stuff. But we're going to take you through those things anyway now. So
I personally thought I took it as a pass. That's how well it went. So when he gave
Chris
this to us,
just lives in his own world.
it was like, that's a pass really. It's like sticker there, sticker there. It's like spot on, man, this is good. So when Dan first turned up, he actually told us that someone up at the marina before him knew the Nomadic Crobot narrowboat channel, and that just led to me thinking, oh god, someone's probably told him it's that narrowboat from hell.
It's a right lemon.
Yeah, make sure you have a good look. I mean, he knows what he's doing, he's the professional. We're not, are we? So anyway, let's go, eh? Do you want to, you start it off. So we've got 7 things on here that we need to sort out. So
the first 3 actually pretty much all relate. Actually, there's 4 of them kind of all relate to one another, and that's out the back, so let's go down there.
And we'll come to quite an interesting one that we thought, and a lot of you thought, that it would fail on too, in just a little moment. And also we're going to let you into a little secret requirement that a lot of safety inspectors are saying narrowboats need to have and don't actually have, but we'll come to that a little bit later in the video. So interesting, isn't it?
It is. It just goes to show just how much kind of chitter-chatter there are surrounding different boaty things, and then when you ask someone professional, they're like, that's not true. That just categorically isn't true. So, but we'll come to that in a bit. So if we avert our eyes down to the battery box, failure number 1. You can see there's some badly positioned wires here which are being caught in the lid of the box. Now basically, at some point in this boat's history, one of the previous owners installed some solar panels, and They hadn't put too much thought into how to route the wiring basically, so they've literally just shoved it up here. But obviously it's getting caught when you put the lid on the battery box, which is not good because it'll damage the wires. It's not very safe. If I lift the battery lid off, you'll see what I mean.
Watch as she struggles. She is actually struggling. I should have done that. I did ask, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. If you just focus into here, you'll see the cables are just totally squashed. So I haven't really thought this through very well. So actually some of those wires we're going to remove because they were for an old wind turbine that came with the same system as the solar panels, but we're not using that, so I'm going to sack them off because they're just annoying and in the way and pointless. But then what we need to do is just reroute the wires. Now this brings us on to the second point of failure in the BSS. Failure number 2. And that is to do with ventilation for the battery box. It needs to have ventilation and it needs to be higher up because the gases are lighter and so they rise up or something like that. And so he suggested putting a hole just down here because that feeds out of here. So it would just allow the gases to escape up and out there. So we've come up with a cunning plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone by putting a hole there and also at the same time routing the solar wires through it up and out where they're not going to get pinched by anything. Job's a good one. Failure number 3. The cables are all cable tied together at various points, as you can see here, but as they feed down here they're just a bit loose, so he just wanted us to cable tie them together and secure them out of the way as well, so they're not just free and dangling around like some crazy ass wire party people. Failure number 4. Right, so leading on from the solar wires, the solar panels were a point of failure as well, simply because they're not actually attached down onto the boat, they're just free and easy. Oh my god, don't look too closely. It's not very tidy under there.
I'll tell you what though, during all those really, really heavy winds that we've had in the last 3 years, they have never blown off.
We've had a good few storms and they've stood the test on them, so because these are possibly only going to be temporary, we don't want to do anything properly sort of structural to the boat with attaching them. So he actually gave us a suggestion to use a batten of wood that we can just stick onto the boat and then you can use that to screw them into. That should be a fairly straightforward fix.
Our old, disgusting, illegal
They're not illegal.
fire extinguishers, they are.
They're
Look at
not.
that blue one, it's rusting on the bottom, dude.
They're only illegal if their pressure gauge is not right. I read that.
But what if it's like sort of falling to bits like that bottom one?
That probably is. And its gauge is not working.
Failure number 5. Into my famous gas locker. Let's take it to the point that a lot of people said that they thought the narrowboat would fail on. They said these have to be tightened in with a strap or a chain or something. Well, that is one thing that the narrowboat seemed to pass on. I don't know if it's because the doors hold it insecure. Maybe you need more of that sort of a thing when you've got them sort of stored in the front in your little locker. But here, didn't seem to have a problem with that. He was happy with that. Okay, this takes us to one problem that we said to you we thought it would fail on, and that would be these little gas hoses. They've all got little cracks on them. They're just a bit old, really. We were going to replace them before he came, but I think like most things on the BSS, what's the point doing it in case it passes? Because with the strap thing, we were going to do that because we thought that was a definite one it was going to fail on, and you would have put all that work in. You might as well just wait. So failure number 6, and that is the little gas pipe that runs along the back here. It's got a bit of a gap behind it, just needs a little bit of wood on there, and this pipe to be secured onto the little piece of wood. I've seen that on a Cruising the Cuts one. He had to do quite a lot on his, like about 10 different areas, and it looked completely ridiculous just to make it sort of legal, and it didn't seem like it done much. So the gas pipe that runs along the whole entire boat has certain intervals along it that it needs to be clipped onto and supported to make the narrowboat legal. He didn't mention my lovely little paint thing that I've done here. So I wonder if it would have even failed on that, to be honest. And he didn't do the water test, did he? The famous water test that you can all recreate on your own narrowboats, if you see that from like, it's probably a few months ago, video. Also, we needed a sticker on here or a label to sort of say that it was the gas locker, was it, Bex?
Yes, so failure number 7 was something relatively easy to fix again, thankfully, and all it is that it needs a little sign to just say that this is the main gas isolation point, which it doesn't have. So we just need to buy one of those and whack it on somewhere near the locker.
Crobot pass. we didn't pass, but we will. For all those that thought we were going to fail, and a couple in there were looking forward. A couple in there looking forward to seeing us fail. Was you one of them, or was you one of the nice ones? Hey, hey, hey! Woo!
Live sessions at the Whistling Wombat.
Recognition, kill yourself to never ever stop. You're broken out the mirror, you're turning into something you are not. Don't leave me high, don't leave me dry.
Or so since we've had one of them, so more of that. So now for that special moment that you've all been waiting for, that secret cool little nugget of information about narrowboat surveyors, because you get different types of narrowboat surveyors. Have you seen what's up there?
That's Hilda.
That's a false widow on our ceiling, dude.
I've become quite partial to her.
We're just leaving that there, are we?
Well, I was trying to get away with it for as long as... She's actually very respectful, but she does need to be moved, really, because she keeps causing loads of cobwebs in that corner, and I feel bad when I have to get rid of some of them.
Anyway, onto that secret nugget of information, because there's different categories of narrowboat surveyors, and Dan, the guy that we had, was an upper tier, professionally vertified narrowboat surveyor, weren't he, Bex? He was like the sort of highest level of a narrowboat surveyor, wasn't he?
So I think what Chris is meaning by this is that not only our guy was a boat safety examiner, but he's also a gas safe engineer as well. So it leads us on to the topic, the taboo topic that we have been teasing you with, and that is bubble testers. So it seems of late there's been a lot of talk about how every boat must have a bubble tester, and so we had in the back of our minds that that might come up in our BSS. And so because of this, we asked him, and he said, actually, that's a load of rubbish, and I'll tell you for why. And he sort of actually felt so strongly about this that he encouraged us to talk about it on the vlogs as well. So basically what it comes down to, I'll try and explain it as best as I can, is that not all boat safety examiners are also gas safe engineers, and so a way of getting round this is by installing a bubble tester onto a boat, because it means that they are able to do adequate gas checks through one of those and thus pass a boat for its safety examination. So it's not actually that it's a requirement that you have to have a bubble tester on your boat. It's just a way that people have found there's a bit of a loophole so that they can kind of get round having to call a gas safe engineer out to come and do that extra bit of work when someone's doing a boat safety examination. So it kind of just goes to show that there's so much misinformation out there that's presented in such a way that it's really believable. Everyone's rushing out to like get these bubble testers installed on their boat, but actually if you speak to the right people you find out that it's not compulsory at all. We were lucky with ours as well because we have got a gas test point. I think possibly having that might be a requirement, but yeah.
So there you have it, guys, that special little nugget of information. I mean, Crobot don't always pull through, but
what we know we share.
we might not be the most professional Narrowboat channel, but you know, when we get these juicy little bits of information, we like to let you all know. Show me how you do that trick. The one that makes me scream, she said. The one that makes me laugh, she said. Put her arms around my neck and said, show me how you do it. And I'll promise you, I promise that I'll run away with you. I'll run away with you. I kissed her, dreamed of all the different things I had to make her grow. Why are you so far away, she said. 'Cause I'm in love with you, I'm in love with you. I think we're sort of just do your one, maybe.